Laura Watts. We all know how damaging Scientology's controlling techniques are, especially the threats of disconnection. This has been prominent in the reporting on the Masterson case already, and more people will be made aware of this horrible policy going forward. Do you think that public awareness and perhaps some legal activity might force the church to change the policy somewhat? I don't know if you heard about the recent court ruling in Belgium that decided that shunning was a human rights issue and the JW Church had to pay damages. It's an interesting tack and focuses more on what the church does rather than what it believes. Is Scientology's disconnection policy so important to retaining members that the church will never, can never let go of it? All right, Laura, thank you very much for this. And in a word, yeah, it is that crucial and vital that they maintain the power of disconnection or shunning with their members. A destructive cult is part of the characteristic of it is that it demands this us versus them, it's our way or the highway kind of thinking. You have to be that on board with these groups. That's just part of the ingredients of the mix. And when you get a group that is not that, which is like, hey, easy come, easy go, you want to go, there's the door, we don't care, we're here to help. If you want to be part of this, we're more than happy to have you here. We would value your, obviously they're going to want members, but if it's an easy peasy, sort of come and go, it's not really a destructive cult anymore, So it would change the entire flavor, the entire tenor of Scientology would change overnight if they were to cancel the disconnection policy. But the iron grip that they keep over their members would be gone, because disconnection and shunning is one of the primary tools that they can use to emotionally blackmail their members. You get a lot of mileage with this, lots. And it's always hanging as a hammer over everybody's head, even if they don't acknowledge it. It's there. So no, Scientology, David Miscavige is not about to give up that power. He would have it would cut the entire operation off at the knees. It is that important. So no. Now what they will do, though, here's what they can do. Rather than go in and change any of the Hubbard references or works on this, what they could do is they could, if they wanted to, they could lessen the intensity with which they do their PTS handlings in the first place. And they could, lessen the severity of allowing people to look at stuff or talk or stuff like that. But again, they're not gonna. But they could. That would be a more realistic way that they might go about adjusting this, right? Is you have in Scientology, it's not zero to disconnection. There's a handling that's supposed to get done. If somebody's being a suppressive person or being a jerk or is not a good person for you to be connected to, there's a handle step where you as the Scientologist figure out how to talk to or work with this person and get them to stop being so antagonistic or giving you such a hard time. Whether it's about Scientology or anything else. But if it's about Scientology specifically, then you have to have that, hey, look, I'm a Scientologist. I know you're not, but, if you could just chill on the jokes and stop trying to deconvert me, I'd really appreciate it. If they would try to have that conversation first, and they could work on that. The problem is that they only have that conversation once, and then, okay, disconnect. Okay, get rid of him. He's out of here. If they even bother to have the conversation at all. Some people might just, screw it. I'm not going to try to handle. I just want to disconnect. Well, you can read Hubbard's directions on this a couple different ways. You can read it in a more lax, you can interpret it in a more lax, chill. Okay, let's really work on this handling step. Let's really see if we can get your mom to come around, or let's see if we can get your boss to stop being such a dick to you or something. And really milk that thing and work it over. Maybe take months, a year or something on some kind of a handling step. That's theoretically possible that they could do that, and that would result in less declares, less disconnection is where I'm going with that. because you'd have more people handling and kind of being more chill about it. But that's not really going to happen. The problem, of course, being that Scientology has been circling the wagons and has been in defensive mode, and the spears out, sort of with the phalanx, right, with all the spears. They're kind of like that, and they're completely freaked out. Scientologists are completely freaked out right now about all the negative publicity and toxicity of Scientology's name. They know Scientology's name is mud. And so they're just hunkered down, just trying to do their Scientology and not talk to people and all that, because they don't want all the trouble. So it really creates so many double binds and problems for the Scientologists that, they just want to disconnect. It's just easier in the long run for them to just do that because they know how toxic it is out here. The Sea Org don't know that, but the public Scientologists do, and they're kind of caught in the middle. Right. So the Sea Org are the hardcore guys. They're the ones who are saying, nah, screw all those wogs. Forget those people. You don't have to be connected to those guys. And so it's just going to keep kind of rolling the way that it has been is my prediction on that. I don't think the church is going to, until they are forced through an external mechanism to change, they won't.